Thank you, Andrew, and thank you everyone for sticking with me during lunchtime. We're going to review some wheel drives for robotic systems like Andrew shared. These are primarily focused on automated guided vehicles, automated guided carts, but essentially it's any system where you need a wheel and you'd like to hook a DC motor up to it and be able to transport. So there's two different companies that EandM has recently started supporting that offers wheel drive systems, and they're the two that I'll review today. The first thing that we'll review is NANOTEC. So NANOTEC is a German manufacturer that specializes in high performance DC drive solutions. They offer a broad range of brushless DC motors and stepper motors, along with planetary gearboxes, linear actuators, and your encoders and controllers that you need for the system. You see them a lot in like laboratory equipment, medical devices, a lot in the healthcare industry. They specifically designed a wheel drive system for self-propelled systems like AGVs and AGCs, and that's it here. Is that a good view, you guys? Can you see it? Awesome. So the NANOTEC wheel drive itself, what you see here is it's a wheel, a planetary gearbox integrated in, its motor, and an integrated controller or encoder if that option's applicable. What's cool about these is the planetary gearbox is what is called like a hub design, which means that it's fully integrated into this wheel. So you're seeing significant advantages in this design regarding lifetime reliability and noise compared to your general gearing systems or regular planetary gearbox systems for wheel drives, which is pretty neat. You have an option to add a mounting plate if that is so convenient for you. If not, you can have it without that. And then when it comes to the wheel itself, there are 6 different sizes that you can choose from. So this first wheel drive here is the WD130. And so that's your WD is wheel drive, 100 is your 100 millimeter diameter, and your 30 is your 30 millimeter depth of the wheel itself. So this here is the WD130. And so this is about the 4-inch size wheel, and it goes about to 8-inch wheel size. This little nugget has a 500 kilogram payload rating, and the 8-inch wheel goes up to about 840 kilogram payload rating. This WD130 has the standard 16:1 planetary gearbox integrated in, and the larger sizes have 16 or 20:1 available standard, but NANOTEC is more than willing to discuss other options that might be more convenient for your system. And so all of these, the 6 wheels, depending on the 4-inch all the way up to the 8-inch, they are all assembled with one of these motors here. You can choose from NANOTEC 60 millimeter flange brushless DC motors with just Hall sensors or with Hall sensors and an integrated encoder. There's even an option for the external rotor system. Or you can use a NEMA 23 or a NEMA 24 smart stepper motor that NANOTEC offers. This here is actually the PD4C that you see there. The difference between the PD4C and the PD4CB is just low pole versus high pole motor design. So there's a lot of pros and cons to each one of these motor designs on the screen here. Do you care more about position control? Do you care about having the smallest battery consumption possible? Do you need really slow speeds at really precise reaction times? There's a lot of different options for you. So there's actually a YouTube video that we'll add to the chat here. And it will actually go over NANOTEC smart brushless DC motors, so your standard brushless DC with an integrated encoder. And then there's smart stepper motors as well. It's a really helpful one to kind of get your head around NANOTEC's motor options. Okay, and then just one last thing about the wheel drive itself. It's IP54 rated, and it's made out of high performance, I hope I'm saying this right, it's the polyurethane Volcolan, something like that. But if you wanted for higher series production, there is options to do like press-on composite tire designs as well, which we'd be happy to discuss with you. And so as we shared before, this is the PD4C motor. So that means that it is the smart stepper NEMA 23 motor, and it has an integrated encoder and an integrated controller. So it's a all-in-one compact system right here. If you were to choose maybe the standard brushless DC motors, that's when you'd want to use one of their NANOTEC's external controller options. This is their popular C5E. It has really convenient spring-loaded terminals for you to use to connect with. And they're available in a full frame with a housing, or they're also available as just like the PCV chip for you to be able to integrate into your own system and reduce space. So depending on the motor that you have, depends on how you can control it. So this motor here is controlled either by USB or CAN open, but depending on which motor you choose, depends on what field bus option is available. So their standard offerings outside of Modbus and USB are Ethernet IP, CAN open, and Modbus TCP and Modbus RTU. If you were looking for just an I/O control system, you can do clock and direction. So every digital input received into this into the controller means that we will move a specific distance. There's a bunch of other different ways that you can use clock and direction as well. And then there's also just analog digital input control. So my digital input starts my motor and my analog input controls the speed. So there's many different ways that you can decide to integrate and control this system. And then a helpful tool that NANOTEC offers is the product finder available on their website. We'll post that link as well here. Here's a great place for you to go when you're just starting out. Well, maybe I want a NEMA 23 size motor, or maybe I need this output torque, but I'd really like this diameter size. This is just a quick way for you to be able to go in and see what kind of possible options there are for you. Let's say that you did find a wheel drive and a motor solution that you liked. It will actually bring you to a page where it's all the technical data of the wheel drive and the motor assembly. We'll give you the dimensional drawings. It will send you to links to all the downloads and how-to manuals. It's a really convenient tool. One of my favorite options is probably after you've picked your assembly, it actually reminds you of the don't forget accessories, like maybe some additional cabling or grounding requirements that you might need. So that's pretty neat there. Once you, if you didn't want to use this, please always feel free to reach out to EandM. We're more than happy, but this is just a helpful tool for you to use yourself. And then once you have configured your wheel drive and you receive it and you're ready to go, you are going to use the Plug-in Drive Studio to set up your wheel drive. So this is a free to download software available on NANOTEC's website. And it's very user-friendly, easy to use, probably one of my favorite softwares out there. They have a very helpful quick start guide that you can download, and it gives you a few application examples and how exactly to program your system. And then NANOTEC also offers a really helpful support team that will help you from everything from deciding exactly what kind of programming you need before you purchase any product, all the way to helping you screen share with you and help you actually program the controller yourself. So it's kind of a one-stop shop to get you ready to go as soon as possible. And so that was what I have for the NANOTEC wheel drives. Were there any questions on this one?
So I do have a couple of questions here for you, Melissa. You spoke a lot about the motors and the controllers together with the NANOTEC. Do they offer any safety functions in that same package?
So not right now. Right now, this is just it doesn't offer safe torque off or any safety functions like that. But NANOTEC is currently in development of the PD6, which will be very similar to this design here, except it will also have safe torque off as an option. That will be available probably in about a year.
Okay, so we got to wait a little bit, but it's coming.
Yeah, but if you've got a project that you have in mind in a year, it's a great option to consider.
And let's see, you mentioned the IP rating of this unit, but just to make sure, can you use the NANOTEC wheel drives outside?
No, this is IP54 strictly. This is a recommended indoor wheel drive only. So this would be great for a warehouse use for an AGV, but not to transport from warehouse to warehouse, where it has to go outdoors.
Yeah, no rain and snow and sleet for this.
Yeah, maybe once, definitely not recommended.
Okay. Well, and it doesn't look like I have any other questions coming through, so I'll let you continue.
Awesome, thank you. And so next, the second wheel drive that EandM supports is, I'm going to try to pronounce this right, is a company called DUNKERMOTOREN is how it's pronounced in Europe, but in the US and for the rest of this presentation, I'm going to call them Dunker. So Dunker is a German manufacturer that has been designing a wide variety of AC and DC assembly solutions for over 70 years now. They are found a lot in food and healthcare applications, a lot of agriculture, warehouse automation is a big one that they're moving into. It's the wheel drive. So they've recently partnered with Siemens to develop a new motor system that is assembled with their wheel drive. So let's see, I lost my controller. So how this system works is you have the Dunker BG45, BG65, BG75 or BG95 series motor. And you connect that to the Siemens MICRODRIVE. And so there are, these are all of the motors that are available for you right now. If you are looking for 24 volts power supply, you're looking at the BG45 or a BG65. This right here is the BG4530. What's really cool about it is you'll notice that some of these have 2 cable connections and others only have 1 cable connection. So depending on that happy ratio between voltage and encoder interference, Dunker and Siemens were able to develop what is called a 1 cable connection design. So this 1 connector is our power for our motor, our encoder signal, and if I had a holding brake on here, it would be the power for that as well, which is pretty neat. And then you can go up to the BG95, which is the one we have in our wheel drive right here. So this guy is around 50 watt, and this one's around 600 watt ratings. And so those are the motors themselves. All of them come with the integrated encoders standard. None have the integrated controller because that is the Siemens MICRODRIVE. And so there are 2 wheel hub options that are available for assembly with any of the motors on the screen here. The first one is the NG250. This one has a 5-inch diameter and about a 250 kilogram payload rating. It's designed for more lightweight vehicles like winders and small loading trails, but it's still a pretty robust system. But for your more heavy duty options, this is when we'd bring in the NG500, which is this here. This is your 8-inch wheel hub, and it has about a 500 kilogram payload rating. So a vehicle with preferred load distribution throughout 4 wheels, this can support 2,000 kilogram payload systems. So just like the NANOTEC wheel drives, these are also standard polyurethane, but if you were doing series production, additional materials are available if interested. And the main reason that Dunker specifically designed these new motors to work with the Siemens system is because they wanted to bring safety to low voltage DC systems, which was not something that they regularly offered. So with this new MICRODRIVE, you, depending on which version that you purchase, you have all of these safety functions available to you. So at a minimum, every single MICRODRIVE will come with safe torque off. So safe torque off is if something were to go wrong and you hit the kill switch, it won't turn back on again until a manual reset is done, making sure everyone stays safe. let's say you had an AGV where when it's operating around people, it really needs to be at a lower speed than when you'd be operating, say in an empty warehouse. Maybe you'd like to use safe speed monitor and make sure everything's, or safe limited speed and make sure that everything's going accordingly. So all of the safety functions are integrated into the MicroDrive and is used via ProfiSafe. So to help you determine the best wheel drive system for you, Siemens has entered the Dunker motors into the TIA selection tool, or the Totally Integrated Automation Selection tool. So you can go to this tool and say that you're interested in the MicroDrive and a Dunker motor solution. And then you can enter your traversing profile. What's my acceleration rate? What's my payload? All of the requirements that you care about. And it will then list for you available options that you can then export to TIA itself, which is pretty cool. This is a growing relationship right now. So the wheels and the planetary gearboxes themselves are not in this TIA selection tool just yet, but it's a great way to determine the best motor to help fit. So in the interim, please reach out to EandM. We'd love to be able to help you get you all of the technical details you want on one of these assemblies. And so let's say that we use the TIA selection tool, we've got our wheel drive assembly and we're good to go and it's in front of us. We're then going to use TIA portal within Siemens to set up all of our motor data, to set up the safety functions that we care about, to set up all of those parameters within the drive and the motor. What's cool is if you have the one cable connection, what's cool is all of the motor data is actually automatically input for you. So you're not putting basic motor nameplate data into your program. You're only programming what you really, the real requirements that you were there to program for. And so this will be a growing system. Brand new, had a training on it last week. So please reach out if you have questions. That's pretty much the end of my presentation.
Awesome, Melissa. Thank you so much. It looks like we have about 10 minutes to answer any questions. And I do have a couple that have come up while you were presenting about the Dunker. But for anyone in the audience, feel free to ask questions about any of the drives you saw just now. Are the Dunker hub wheels only available for assembly with these 4 motor types and the MicroDrive series?
No, today's presentation was just specifically on this new partnership. Dunker has an overwhelming offering of different AC and DC motors, encoders, gearboxes, anything you can assemble with this gear hub. In fact, they actually offer a new motor system that is highlighted specifically to be combined with the new DS60 encoder, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, that is awesome. And then we have a specific question about the microdrives. Can one microdrive be used to control all 4 wheels on a AMR or AGV?
Unfortunately, no. This right now is a 1 microdrive to 1 motor system. However, it is brand new. So that might be available moving forward.
We submit it as a suggestion.
Oh, yes.
So in addition to that, does Dunker offer other integrated controlled options or integrated control options at all?
They do. They offer both external and internal controller options with some of their other motor lines as well. But for the Siemens microdrive system, this is the limited family portfolio right now.
Okay. And then another question about being able to drive outdoors with these units. Can we go outside?
Yes, we can. This one is, they're standard at IP65 rated, but Dunker is more than happy to discuss other options like IP69K or anything else that might be required.
All righty, so we can outfit them for the great outdoors.
Correct, yes. This would be the one to go from warehouse to warehouse.
Awesome.